if you want the rainbow, you've got to put up with the rain. And I think that one day, when that day comes, I'll look back on my life and smile. And I think everyone will.
Yeah, no one knows you used to be a wrestler enough. You start to believe it. Brian and I always brought out the best, or some might say the worst, of each other.
The rivalry that they had was one of the things that put Ring of Honor on the map.
And both trying to prove a point to each other. They were the epitome of pure professional wrestling.
Widely known that Brian is the best wrestler in the world for a while, but if Nigel wouldn't have been sidelined for so long, who knows if Brian would have been the best wrestler in the world.
Nigel might have felt slighted because, you know, Brian has always been the golden boy.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I just feel sick when I remember what the happened to me. I deserve that but I was good enough then, I'm good enough now.
Nigel McGuinness has always been Nigel McGuinness's worst enemy.
Now, I can't go back and get all of those years. But what I can do is I can take redemption from the one man that everybody knows was a wrestler. The most famous wrestler in the world, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
It's Wednesday. You know what that means. September the 25th, 2024. We're here in Queens, New York. Arthur Ashe Stadium for Grand Slam. Arthur Ashe himself, I think, said a big part of success is confidence. A big part of confidence is preparation. I've been preparing for 18 months for this. So there's no doubt. I'm just ready to go.
I've been training with Nigel for a few months now, probably close to half a year. And it's been a very special time for me because Nigel is someone that I grew up watching. He's someone that's directly influenced my style. And I don't think I'd be the same wrestler I am now if Nigel McGuinness didn't exist. So being able to get in the ring with him, learning these techniques firsthand, it's been very special and very cool for me.
Almost 15 years to the day since I last wrestled Bryan Danielson here in New York. You know, it's 25 years to the very day that I had my first professional match. You can't write that sort of stuff. Arguably the biggest match of my career. And that little kid that sat in Wembley Stadium and first vowed that he was going to be a professional wrestler would be giddy with this. But there's a strange sense of calm, you know? And I don't know where that comes from, whether it's the preparation that I'm ready to go, or it's just the belief that destiny was going to tell this story. Just got to find out what happens next.
I'm the best wrestler in the world. And I have got a million ways to beat you.
With all the great names we had at the time, those two guys were the heart and soul of what Ring of Honor was.
Some of the matches that they had, I really feel like it changed the whole sport.
And it helped continue to light the fire under all of the talent that was on the roster.
Both of these guys had so much pride to what they did. It added to the whole mystique of the matches.
Brian was just like one scoochy step above. It was really hard for Nigel to take, and Nigel would do anything to kind of shift that.
Their matches were some of the most important matches in Ring of Honor history. They set the bar so high.
You know, the harder you hit each other, the more money you make, and certainly for a portion of our career, that was the case.
I just watched the Wrestling Road Diaries. It has my last day and Dragon's last day at Ring of Honor to get our just rewards for the years of sacrifice and heartache that we'd paid. And I believed in it. And I believed that I'd earned it and that I deserved it. And Dragon got it. And he earned it and he deserved every single dollar he's earned.
But what about me? Didn't I deserve it? Did I do something so terribly wrong in the past that I deserved what happened to me? I'm tired of bullshit footing around it. I'm just gonna tell you how I feel, and that's the truth. The truth is it's bullshit. It's not fair. I deserve that spot. I was good enough then. I'm good enough now. When I was young, I just had a dream. I wanted to be a wrestler. I wanted to prove that if you've got a dream, you can make it. And I believed that. And that is why I paid my dues and I made my sacrifices, and God strike me down if I didn't just do my best.
Personally, after watching these guys for all these years, that they were both going to be huge stars. It didn't work out that way.
Brian went on to, become one of the biggest things in professional wrestling, and Nigel did not.
There are many reasons why I chose to step away from wrestling at that time. Quite simply, the risk wasn't worth the reward.
I feel like it wasn't disappointment that he couldn't do it anymore or thought he couldn't do it anymore. I think it was with himself. And if you look at the history of Nigel McGuinness has always been Nigel McGuinness's worst enemy.
And I'd be being dishonest and I wouldn't be being genuine if it had anything to do with my health. It didn't. I tapped out. It's the truth. I just tapped out.
When he did his retirement tour that he made his documentary out of, it was a sad thing for me as a fan of his work because I felt like he never got to show the world how good he is in the ring.
In a way, part of me doing that documentary was kind of a cry for help, a desperate plea that someone, somewhere would care about my dream and give me a chance.
Every day of his life since he has stopped wrestling, he has thought about the fact that it should have been him.
For me, it was always a bitter pill to swallow, to have to stand by on the sidelines and watch the success of Bryan Danielson reach the very top, the pinnacle of professional wrestling industry. While I went back to normal life. I drove for Uber. I remember having every conversation. Every time someone got in the car and heard my voice, heard my accent. Oh, you're from England. What are you doing in America? Oh, wanted to be a professional wrestler as my childhood dream. Oh, yeah, why didn't that work out for you? Just one of those things. You ever meet Bryan Danielson? Yeah, once or twice.
To see the look on his face, the way he carried himself, was like a Nigel I had never seen before.
And I know his heart was broken. He always wanted to be in the ring. He did a great job as a color commentator. He really wasn't happy.
We've seen so many wrestlers with time, healing wounds, physical wounds, get back in the ring. And I was worried that Nigel would be a little too stubborn to come back to the ring.
But there's always that part of you that's still there. You can ask anybody who's been in the ring. That itch. It's just you. And once you got it, you ain't ever getting rid of it.
A broadcast colleague? No way. This cannot be right. What? Nigel McGuinness. They are on their feet here in Wembley. Good for Nigel. What a reaction. Hometown boy.
It's a strange feeling when you realize the only thing stopping you wrestling was you.
To see him at Wembley Stadium, where he grew up watching wrestling, to see him wrestle in front of 50,000 people, I think it gave everybody a little hope, and I think it was like a part of the story we all needed, and a part of the story he needs.
Once I started realizing I can still do this, then I knew, God willing, only a matter of time before I get Brian again.
In New York, he gets the match of his lifetime.
It will be Bryan Danielson against Nigel McGuinness!
15 years ago, I was there, and to actually be able to officiate this match is very, very important to me, so I'm super excited for this one.
After so long, you gotta have something deep down inside, something that's driving you to want to come back.
I just wonder if Nigel's got some pent-up emotions, some hard feelings that he's had inside him for years.
Two wrestlers who started in such a niche world, an alternative world of professional wrestling, now bring it to the mainstream.
You know what's so funny? Is that when I finally came to that acceptance and I made peace, the opportunity arose to face him again. God has a funny way of making things work. Certainly this is an opportunity I never saw coming, but I promise you I am gonna make count.
You'll be just fine, Nigel. You wanna know why? Because you're the best person ever.
Yes, I did.
Male talent this way. For the longest time, I never thought I'd ever wrestle again, right? This is the first time my daughter's going to be seeing any wrestling, let alone her dad wrestling. She's 6.5 years old, and you know, she stays over. First thing she does when she wakes up is jump into bed with me and go, "Wrestling, wrestling!" You know, we always wrestle around, and she sort of pushes me off the bed. So I think seeing Bryan Danielson trying to rip me limb from limb is going to be a little bit of a change of pace for her. But maybe I'll get to rip him from limb to limb a little bit as well. Everyone wants to end their career at the top, don't they? And certainly beating Bryan in New York City would be a good pinnacle, a good way of going out, a good way of proving what I've said all along about being every bit as good as him. And when that happens, brittle Bryan becomes benign Danielson. Yeah, this stuff writes itself.
Tonight, it comes to an end. I'm gonna teach you some respect because I'm Nigel McGuinness. I'm in it to win it.
I look back at all my years, they seem to say among the tears and the joy and the pain and the wind and the rain, the love that I engaged upon will never die. It will live on, growing to showing who was right or wrong, weak or strong. Memories come back to me in shades of blue and misty green. Tell me how you've forgotten me.
Great match, Nigel. Hell yeah.
Oh, I swore, didn't I? You know what? I said, I think I said, I think I said everything. Yeah, I hope it was on Impact, so I hope it, if you guys didn't hear it, then they didn't hear it. Before I came to AEW, My career was done. That ship had sailed, I told so many people. I just thought there was no way, because no one believed in me, because I didn't believe in me, so why should anyone? But you know, life works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? You know, it's, just never could have imagined this would have happened. And I will forever feel blessed to have got to stand there and face off with him one more time. But God, I can give all the epithets and soliloquies in the world, and still hurts to lose to him. You know, seeing Brian's career trajectory and all the success that he had, it certainly gave me a little bit of happiness to come up with him, be one of his peers, and see him succeed. And as I said, he's one of the guys that proves that if you have a dream and you never give up, you can make it. And it's hard to know, because here I am in 2024. What was that? A decade later, 13 years later, however long, and to be on that same stage with him. Took me a long time to meet him, but maybe I got there eventually. Two paths diverged in a wood, and I chose the road less traveled, and it has made all the difference.